Welcome to the Friday Everyday Podcast. This is where we share and explore how to design a thriving business and lifestyle so that we can live the lives we've always wanted to have right now.
It's where strategy meets energy work. It's where we'll unpack how to build a business that works for you and we'll make it tangible and actionable. I'm Jodi Rumack, an online business coach, and my mission is to help you grow and scale your online business to create time freedom so that you can spend more time doing the things you love with the people you love.
And I'm DeCastro. As a holistic health practitioner and Reiki master, my part in this mission is to provide self-care support and spiritual guidance to business owners who are shifting to align with their next level way of being.
So come and join us here where every day feels like Friday and the vibe is fun, inspiring, and real.
Just sit back, relax, and enjoy. This moment is yours and you have earned it. This is the Friday Everyday Podcast.
All right, welcome back, you guys, to the Friday Everyday Podcast. Today, I am so excited because Brian, our other host, is going to be our interviewee today, and we're going to get to know him a little bit better. We're going to dig deep. We're going to find out what's going on, and we're going to get to share some stories, and I'm really excited to dive in. So welcome, Brian.
Thank you. I kind of feel a little bit nervous, but this is fun. I'm excited at the same time. So let's go. Let's do it.
Okay, let's go. Well, let's just dive right in. So let's start with kind of your story, the history, how you got here. Let's dive right into that.
So
where to start?
where do I start at this point? What's coming up for me right now is I was always brought up around physical activity, active living, around my parents and growing up with I have a big family with a lot of cousins and stuff. When we got together, we're always very active, like physical activity, um, health, and that kind of lifestyle without it being so fixed as it is now, just organically was my natural environment. So growing up, I was always active. There was no cell phones. We were outside. Like I remember there was times where I was out with my cousins in the front yard learning how to do a backflip off the fire hydrant. And I don't know how we didn't break our necks. So that was kind of like my life growing up in the 80s, right? So fast forward into my adult life, I was also an artist, graduating from high school. I was good at gym and art. And I originally felt like at the time, I don't know if there's really a future in gymming or working out or whatever, because fitness was very young in the 90s, right? So
definitely.
so I went into graphic design. I pursued my art career and went into graphic design. And I went in with the most practical, you know, monetizable, marketable, like, employable type of work,
Right. Yeah.
which actually, I'm looking back, I should have probably gone in illustration or animation or something like that. But, I did 2 years of graphic design, and inside that very competitive college program, I had rediscovered that I actually, like, as a core value, I cannot be in a situation where I can't take care of my health, where I can't get to the gym, I can't sleep properly, I can't,
Yeah.
eat properly, all that stuff. And we were like working around the clock trying to meet deadlines and stuff. I wasn't super efficient at coming up with design concepts and executing them quickly.
Right.
So I was always down to the wire, right? And I was
Yeah.
realizing in second year, it was probably like 5 in the morning at the college in the computer lab going, if this is how I'm going to make a living, I am not going to survive this.
Right.
And I
Fair.
need I need to question once I get through this semester, I need to question whether or not this is the thing I want to do.
That's pretty
Because then I got to make a
insightful
move.
to have done at that point
Yeah.
in your life.
I don't know how at around I think 21, 22, I was that I don't know how it was that self-aware. I just knew that I
Yeah.
really didn't like the position I was in where I was not able to take care of myself, in a way that I found was just obviously naturally just a way of being for me. So
Yeah.
um, I ended up making it back into the third year, but on probation, and I had a conversation with my dad, and I said, look, I could go back and try to finish this program, but I'm not even really sure if I want to do this,
Right.
or it could take a year and just work a little bit and think about what I want to do
Yeah.
next, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, he was paying the bills of and my tuition and stuff, and he was very supportive. My parents were very supportive, and they said, "Look, do what you got to do. We're behind you," right? So I took
Amazing.
the year off, and I actually applied to a fitness that year, but I didn't make it in because
Mm.
I wasn't ready. I had to write some exams, some prerequisite exams to
Okay.
be accepted. And I just wasn't ready. So I took the year off. I was actually painting full time and I was
Yeah.
helping my friend DJ all these random jobs, right? But it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I was learning a lot about myself back then, making some money. And then I got into fitness the next year, and I realized I was in just as competitive a program, but it was a right fit for me.
Yeah.
And I was willing
Huge
to
difference.
meet the standard, work really hard, show up early, do all the things, right? And I was well respected amongst my peers and the teachers there and stuff. So I knew I was in the right place. So
Yeah.
from that I graduated, deployed into the industry, fitness coach, personal trainer, and that's how I got going, right? So um, I was always very resourceful with the things that I had, with learning how to program. I got into powerlifting around that time too, competitive
Yeah.
powerlifting, and something about a powerlifting programming actually makes, in my point of view, makes you actually a really good programmer, like a good problem solver in the workout, personal training, programming space. There's very few powerlifters that I know that don't really understand that don't understand like programming at a this kind of level that I understood
Yeah.
it.
Well, when
And
you're practicing it all the time and you're having to do it for
yeah,
yourself, then can translate, right?
yeah, like manipulating numbers, looking at the data, percentages, all the different things that you're looking at, right? All the metrics with a drug-free athlete, there's all these different factors, right? So
Yeah.
I learned how to translate a lot of what I learned from programming for powerlifting into programming for regular folks. And which is where in the clubs that I worked at and the places that I worked at, kind of put me on the map, right? So um, 10 years later after that, I get injured preparing for a meet. And
Yeah.
that's when I had, for the first time in my life since I was 14 years old, had to actually not work out and recover, get the surgery done and experience that whole thing. It drove me crazy, right? And
So hard.
because
Burnout
I had
to have
realized,
that.
I didn't realize for so many years I had this outlet that managed my anger. This is the other thing I was learning about myself. I was learning that I was managing my anger that was deep down for some reason, through lifting heavy weights and doing crazy shit with my body, right?
Yeah.
So, and just having that clear goal of a targeted meet that you're going to compete for, all these different things, right? So, um, when I had to stop, I actually had to focus on the rest of my life. Like I
Yeah.
was, I think that year I was engaged to be married that year in my other relationship, and there was that factor of responsibility. There was also the responsibility of like, how am I going to actually make a long-term career out of what I'm doing?
Yeah.
Um, where do I want to go next? What opportunities are available if I were to get hired somewhere or as an entrepreneur, what would I do? So I was looking at all these different things because I had the space and the bandwidth, and there's a bit of urgency around me trying to make these decisions, right?
Yeah.
So, but also my time and my healing took me on it reminded me of a spiritual aspect of what I do, and I was in a the orthopedic surgeon's office,
Hmm.
sitting in this room. I was like almost 30 years old, sitting in this room full of like 80 and 90-year-olds waiting to get like a new hip and stuff. I was the baby in there, and
Yeah.
I didn't even look injured, right?
Right.
I go see this orthopedic surgeon. He's looking at me going, like, what are you doing here?
What are you
Like,
doing here? Yeah.
yeah. So he didn't he didn't offer to do the work on me. I ended up getting someone else to do it, but there was a little bit of a sort of aha moment for me there too, where I was like really starting to think about what is ahead for me. What is my future? Where am I
Yeah.
going next, right? And And just seeing all these people just, you know, not suffering, but just in a more difficult spot than me, going like, I still have my
Sure.
youth, I have my resources, I have people around me. Let's go all in and make this work. So shortly after that, I applied for a leadership position in the organization I was working for, managing, you know, a group of
Big team.
40 trainers, multiple departments inside of the fitness department, multi-million-dollar department,
Yeah.
lots at stake. We're breaking the ground on $50 million expansion. At the time, it was like I just dropped into this place where all these different, levels of comfort zone have been like smashed open, right? It was
Hmm.
exciting. There was a lot of pressure, a lot of status, and a lot of, opportunity there, and we went through that whole process, and it was massively successful, and I don't think I could ever have duplicated that anywhere else, or even
Yeah.
strategically tried to attempt to put myself in that situation. It just happened for me. The universe
Right.
gave me a lot because my goal for applying for that position was I wanted to learn how to run a big business, right?
Yeah.
And that was the gift that I got, right? So after a lot of the boxes were checked there, um, they started phasing people out in the next sort of phase of the organization, and I was one of the last to get phased out of my position at a good time because I was ready to move on.
Okay.
And I'm pulling out of the club with a smirk on my face, like they're gonna pay me really well to never come back here, right? So,
Perfect.
yeah, perfect. Um, shortly after that, that's when we met, right? So
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm an entrepreneur again. Let's go, right? With zero clients, zero leads, zero network in my hometown, all these different things, and I had to start
Right.
again
Yeah.
as a personal trainer, but also a holistic coach because I'd done a lot of training in the club that developed a lot of other skills that I had,
Yeah.
energy work, holistic lifestyle coaching, all these different things that I did. And I was like,
Yes.
now I have nothing holding me back on how I can deliver with clients, right? So, and that's when we started working together. You taught me the what I needed was the basics, like how do I even like let people know I exist,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
yeah, and so that's how kind of I got started with the original business, Domestic Athlete, and so offering a sort of a holistic approach to personal training, which
Yeah.
eventually evolved to also just holistic lifestyle coaching or life coaching. And now we're working together, and I'm using those similar skills, but inside the space of working with entrepreneurs, right?
Yes.
So
Game
that's
changer.
yeah, that's kind of like in a nutshell, like the path that I took. There's a lot of probably bumps along the way that happened there.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'll just let things come up as they come up in the conversation. But that's as far as a background, that's kind of where I'm coming from. Over 20 plus years in the fitness industry, both working with clients one-on-one in group and also managing and leading teams in that space.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for sharing that, all of that. I think that, you know, those bumps along the way that you talked about are, I would almost say always the thing that has you move in a different direction or start thinking differently and stuff like that, or getting let go, phased out, fired, whatever word we're using or whatever the
Yeah.
situation was. It always it always leads to growth if you allow it, right? So
Yeah.
maybe you can share, like, along the way, what was the biggest challenge for you when you became an entrepreneur, like since you've become an entrepreneur, I should say. This has now been almost 10 years.
Yeah. There was phase one of that was when I first went in the industry, where you did have to sort of create your own business and you get hired. You're kind of staff of the club, but you're also kind of operating your own personal
Yeah.
training practice, right? Um, so I was able to dip my toe into entrepreneurship there with the shelter of like I'm in a club with all these clients, all these potential leads walking around in the gym,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
Um, that became very different when I came out of the club industry and decided I was going to go on my own.
Right.
And like, okay, I'm not in a club now. and when I was running the metrics at that club I was at, we would have about during busier times of the year, um, about 500 to 600 visits per day.
Wow.
That's a
Yeah. It's a
lot
lot.
of freaking people
High volume. Yeah.
coming in and out and conversations and all that stuff. So I went from that to I like literally the first month or two of that business, which was intended to be in person. Eventually I ended up at a studio, but at first I was like looking at this empty calendar on my computer,
Right. Yeah.
going, the only asset I have right now, I have a little bit of capital, but the only asset I have right now is my time and energy.
Right.
And what am I going to put in this calendar that will eventually lead me to clients?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And so this was a very different, there's like a 2.0 level of this crash course of becoming an entrepreneur for me.
Right.
And I'm kind of grateful that, they say ignorance is bliss. I'm kind of grateful I didn't know exactly what I was getting into.
Yeah.
And when I worked with you in the beginning, I was getting little bits and pieces of what I needed to know at that time to just get to my first set of clients and get into the right position to attract more clients and create opportunities, right? So, um, it, yeah, it was, and other opportunities came up because I had an opportunity to also go back to the college and teach part-time
Hmm.
while I was building a business too, which was also really cool because teaching personal training and young fitness enthusiasts
Yeah.
what
Super
to
cool.
expect in the industry. So there's a lot of different things that came up as well, just from my contacts and the relationships I kept, right?
Yeah.
Which I think is a critical thing that people need to remember is don't burn your bridges. Like remember to always, you know, be aware of the people who are like in your corner, people that you connect with, that you vibe with, and just keep those relationships going.
Yeah.
You never know if you need to help each other, right?
Absolutely.
Because
This
that
is,
was the lead, like the leads I got were mostly referrals from people that know me personally,
mm,
right?
yeah, for
And that's
sure.
how it built. That's how it originally just started and built.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is so key. And I want to get into more of the networking part because it's something that you are so good at. But first, I just want to go back because you talked about, looking at this empty calendar, thinking, how am I going to fill this calendar with things that will eventually help me get clients?
Yeah.
And for everyone who's listening, I mean, this is the number one question, no matter where you are in your business, right? Whether you're first starting out, whether you're already, making 75K, 100K, 150, whatever, even as you grow, you're still trying to figure out how to get more, right? How
Hmm.
do you get more clients? And so, one of the things that, even though you probably started out with lots of referrals and stuff like that, one of the things that you've been really great at this whole time is building relationships and connecting with people and keeping your network alive and doing all that. And the truth is, most people will, even if they do go to events, or even if they do host their own, they'll meet someone once, they'll have this great connection, and then they'll literally never talk to them again.
Yeah.
So, talk to us a bit about how you've managed to keep this network going because actually, the reason why you and I are in touch and in the position that we are today is
Yeah.
because we kept in touch after we worked together.
Yeah.
So, talk to us a bit about that and what people can really do to build that network and not burn bridges and stay in touch over the long term.
Yeah. I'm going back to that time. It was 2016, 2017. There was a local networking event at a flower shop with a local business that met every Thursday, and that was the first place I started doing in-person networking because the idea of online networking didn't even really like it
Right.
existed, but it wasn't the
Not really.
thing. It was more people were going in person, right?
Yeah.
I attended a couple BNIs as guests to understand the different things that are out there.
Yeah.
Um, and just in person, like literally getting in my car and driving. So what was going in my calendar was these networking opportunities was the
Yeah.
first thing. Because you can actually step into a room and get exposure to 20, 30, 40 people once you do your little speech or whatever. And then you can start mingling around and make a few connections in person.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how powerful the energetics around in person
Yes.
was too, right? So there was that. What was most valuable to me, which I at the time did not know if I was going to translate to clients or not, but I followed how it felt, which was
Yeah.
pulling out of those events, those little coffee shop one-to-one chats,
Yes.
right? I hired my first accountant out of that. Like we
Love
sat down, he had 10 plus years in business already, experience. He talked about, your first 2, 3 years is going to be like therapy. You're going to learn about yourself. If
Yeah.
you survive this next 2 or 3 years and not go back and get a job, you're going to learn a lot, right? And you're
He's
going to
not
make
wrong.
mistakes, right? So to be around people with experience and some success already, and having them get to know me as well, that was probably pretty critical. And every time I left those exchanges, I was like, something feels right about this, and it tells me that I need to keep doing it. Right.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing too. It's like not every move you make or every person's in front of you is gonna lead necessarily to a client directly.
Right.
But the relationships you build just keep expanding your reach
Absolutely.
and your capacity. And then next thing you know, someone might call you and say, I know somebody. I thought about you when she was talking about her challenge that she was dealing with. Would you be open to connecting with her and
Yeah.
maybe helping her? And that's how it happened for me, right? To be honest, very few of my leads came from like my Google profile when I
Yeah.
launched my website
No.
and stuff. And that was actually kind of weird because it was like I sat down with two people that just Googled and found me in the local area, and I got
Okay.
into meetings with them. One of them did come on with me as a
Cool.
bigger ticket PT client. The other one wasn't ready to drop that money and that commitment at the time, but
Sure.
there was very few that came from that means. Most
Yeah.
of them came from the relationships I built. And I think the other thing too is that reinforcement or that feeling you get from people that you connect with, you fit with, all that's going to boost the level of confidence that you have, the
Yes.
capacity you have to grow and expand and be in front of people. I learned very quickly how to like think on the spot, share what I do within less than a minute,
Yeah.
which I fucked up so many times. There's so many times I did my
Haven't we
elevator,
all?
so many times I did my elevator speech in one of these events or something and just go, what the
What was
fuck did
that?
I just say? I like no wonder nobody understands what I do because I don't know how to even communicate it,
Yeah.
right?
I this is so huge actually because people always think I have to have the website, I have to go to the networking event, I have to do this, I have to do that. And they're thinking about the task in and of itself, but they're not realizing that you're by doing, whether it results in a client immediately or not, you are growing, you are learning, you are putting the word out there. I have one sort of guru mentor who always says, do a really great job and tell every single person you can think of,
Yeah,
maybe in a little more succinct way. But
yeah,
that's basically what he's saying. Do a really great job and make sure everybody knows it. Right?
yeah,
So just by getting out there and just by attending and putting your face out there and saying what you do and all that stuff, it's like you're learning all of these skills, these softer skills that you may not even realize, or you may not realize how important they actually are
yeah,
to eventually growing the business. So I think this is so, so important, and something that you've just done so well. And in that sort of vein, you've also done a really great job of building a community around yourself with amazing friends and connections. And, some of them are more colleagues, business connections, but they're still people where you're the kind of person who can message them after like 6 months or a year, and they're so happy to hear from you. And you could just pick up like that. And you've also done a really great job of building a friendship with a bunch of people. Specifically, you have this group, maybe you can talk about that a little bit, but you've actually built really amazing friendships with people who are also on the entrepreneurial journey, who get it. And and I also have this group of people, and that has been so, so important along the journey. So maybe you can share a bit about how you did that and how those came to be, and what that group is doing for you now.
Yeah, one thing to go back to as well was also how I got my first client
Okay.
in that situation. There's a young guy that I used to go to back when I had hair. I'd go see him.
That must have been a
He was
long
my
time ago.
yeah, he was my barber.
Just
And
kidding.
we're talking and I told him what I did and he was very intrigued by it because he's a young guy, likes to work out and stuff. So I was giving him advice every time I went in and stuff. And I said, "Hey man, I through one of my relationships, one of my connections, I connected with Dave Harris that owns a individual performance in Aurora town nearby here. That's
Yeah.
where I began a lot of this in-person PT work at his studio.
Yeah.
And I say, hey, there's a studio I'm at locally here. Come on over and I'll take you through an assessment. I'll take you through a little bit of what I do free of charge and I can give you some recommendations and just give you a feel of kind of like how I do it and what I do and what you can learn from it. Whatever you want to do after that's totally up to you, right?
Okay.
So he came, I did this little test on him, and what happened was another trainer in the studio
Mm-hmm.
who's also studied through the Czech Institute
Mm-hmm.
recognized what I was doing.
Uh-huh. Cool.
And she observed me. And then shortly after that session, after I shook hands with him and he left, she goes, I think I have some clients for you.
Okay. Great.
Because she was leaving the country and traveling. And she
Okay.
had a handful of long-term committed clients with
Yeah.
resources that will be need to get taken care of when she's gone.
Okay. Great.
So shortly after that, I went from zero clients to a handful of like pretty committed high ticket
Great
clients.
clients. Awesome.
Just by if I didn't show up that day and offer that session for free to
Yes.
my barber,
Yeah.
and I didn't do it thinking that I was gonna I'm gonna show up in
Oh,
front of people and show off or whatever. I just literally just I wanted to I was like, I have to work. I have to at least practice delivering what
practice,
I
show
do.
people. Yeah. This is the
Right?
energetic piece, right? Like,
Yeah.
this is so perfect.
Yeah. So deliver some value, just figure out and figure out how I want to conduct my business too, right? And if there's
Yeah.
anyone willing to try it, um, let's jump on board and do it. Like I said, the asset I have right now is time and energy.
Yeah.
Right? Until I
Okay.
don't have time and energy or until I don't have as much time, like that's when you have to start leveraging, well, you got to start making money and being compensated for the efforts. But it's also
Yeah.
it's a little bit of a search, right? Finding the right connections, the right opportunities. And
Yeah.
that's how I started at that studio.
Yeah. So here you are making connections with people in the community. You're actually connecting with the other trainers in your space.
Hmm.
And then let's talk about how you found this group of people who you're actually connected with on a personal level now, too, as your like business colleagues, some mentors, some.
Yeah, some are either people I went to school with that I just kept those relationships with. There was something very, and I guess everyone says this about their graduating class, but there was something very significant about our our class that
Okay.
graduated in '99 at George Brown. Um, there was something they were we were very ambitious. We pushed back, we challenged the profs, we challenged everything.
Of course you did.
I think we were the only class that didn't have the grad photo on the wall when we left.
Oh,
It was kind of funny, but some went off to a lot of, really amazing opportunities, created businesses,
yeah.
right? Very ambitious and resourceful, brilliant people, right? And I was lucky enough to be part of that. I have some that are authors, created their own systems that are trademarked, stuff like that, right? So
Yeah.
there's that. There's my chiropractor at the time was Dr. Ken Kanakin, which is a
Big name
world-known,
if you're in fitness.
expert in the treatment space and the founder of Swiss Conference. So he was my chiropractor. He was also a powerlifter that used to compete with my uncle back in
Yeah.
the day. So the funny connections were all there, right? And there's times where I'd be sitting there going, I haven't talked to that guy in a while. I'm just gonna hit him up and see what he's up to, right? And just being willing to do that. They may or may not respond, but often they do. They're actually happy
Usually
to hear
do.
from you, right?
Yeah.
So friends, classmates, colleagues, people I've worked with in the gym, people I've gone to for help, treatment, manual therapies. I was always intrigued to learn about what people do too, and refer to them. I referred a lot of
Yeah.
people to the two chiropractors I worked with. I referred a lot of people to them, right? So, and just keeping those relationships going. So that's how it built, right, over time.
Yeah. And and so now like you have this group that you talk to on a weekly basis who are now your friends, who are your
Mhm.
colleagues, who are your some mentors in some ways,
Yeah.
some you are mentoring in some ways, right? You guys are all having this exchange. So, like talk to us a bit about how that works and also the crossover between the business and the personal because for us in our brand in our business this is the whole idea behind it. It's like yes we need to do the business stuff, yes we need to get down to doing the tasks and the systems and making the money and all of that stuff, and the energetic work, the holistic lifestyle piece, the taking care of ourselves, the making sure that we are functioning at our highest level and continuously improving that, like that is the basis of what we do. And
Yeah.
it's also happening inside of that group that you're with. So
Mhm.
can you share a bit about how that works and how it goes and why that's been important to you as you've been building a business?
Yeah. So the I guess the first thing is how the tight circle, it's a men's circle, how that sort of like there's a whole story how that started, but also
Okay.
there was um and then also the holistic approach, right? So first of all, again, early in that phase of me networking and growing and stuff like that, I was also going into old emails and people in my network. Um, yeah, this one person that I thought I met at a networking event, but it was actually a different person. I know a lot of people named Dan. So this particular Dan, I reached out to him. We were chatting for a little bit. I shared a bit of what I was working on and stuff. I was very passionate in helping dads as well,
Hmm.
fit dads, and I had this whole other concept I was working on. And he says, I know somebody that I think you might connect really well with. He's talking about a lot of the same things. He's actually authoring a book right now. And so he connected me. We sat down. There's a number of things we got into business with. We got into that's when I went back and started looking at supplements again. He was also really successful with isogenics and I started trying supplements out, transforming my body, the whole thing. The three of us connected regularly on a bunch of different things we were working on, and then we decided to create our own men's networking event, and it was
Hmm.
called Guys, Beers, and Business.
Love
Right?
it.
He said, you get few, I'll get a few, and you get a few, and we'll bring some guys in a room. We have a basic idea of what we think is going to happen, a basic idea of what we think the need is, and
Yeah.
we just want to create a big network of men that can support each other because men tend to just go out into the world, do their thing, whether they're having success or not. We put on a face and we just go out and do it, and we don't share a lot, right?
Yeah.
We want to create a safe space for men to do this. So we had a successful event, and this thing ran for like 5 years.
So awesome.
We went
Amazing.
online for a little bit. So as a result of that, there were some men that we met at some of our last meetings that were in person before COVID. We kept in touch during that time and support each other along the way.
Yeah.
Tom was one of them that was very instrumental in creating a group that he beta tested with us, that we all had this massive success during like 2020, 2021. We were
Yeah.
all, and it just created this tradition of these Saturday meetings, right? And I also learned along the way doing some men's work. Dan introduced me to the men's weekend. I did a men's weekend workshop and been on men's teams and stuff. So as men, there's a very critical part of maintaining healthy masculine relationships with other men, both in
Mhm.
business but in personal. So we have these calls still every Saturday, um,
Yeah.
where we can hash out anything we need to hash out in literally a less than an hour phone call. It's very efficient, right?
Brilliant.
So these types of things have been critical in not only just potential connections or opportunities, but also the constant quest of upgrading and learning about yourself and up leveling and challenging yourself, being out of your comfort zone, right?
Yeah.
I think it's constant to be constantly learning and because you'll find this in if you're a coach or something, you find in your practice that you'll hit a point where you've kind of mastered the level you're at,
Yeah.
and you either continue there if you're happy with that. But I found for me what happened was it was almost the point where I could actually probably do what I was doing half asleep, which is not really doesn't really sound good, but
Right.
I created systems around what I did
Yeah.
so long that I was like, I'm ready for something else. I'm ready for
Yeah.
something new, right?
Yeah. And this is the conversation that you and I have all the time about who we are becoming, right? And
Yeah,
acting as if and getting ourselves into different rooms. And, you know, everybody on the call that you do on Saturdays has really, something really special to give, right?
yeah,
And you're the go-to with holistic lifestyle coaching and the lifestyle design and all the reiki and all the energy work and all of that stuff. You're really amazing when it comes to how to talk to people and building relationships and dealing with struggles in relationships. Like, you'd be the go-to for sure for that. There are other guys in that group who, you know, own Airbnb. One guy's a speaker. Like, there's really book authors. You guys just
yeah,
have such a great group of people. And I think one of the biggest things is like we always need to be in rooms where we're not the smartest one,
yeah,
right? And
yeah,
maybe in some things you are, but in some things you aren't. Like, you can't always be the best in the room. You're never going to learn anything. You're never going to grow that way.
yeah.
So I really just respect and love this about you so much, that you participate in this and you show up every week, and you guys all do, and it's so amazing. And even though I don't get the details of what goes on the call, I I know that you guys talk about business, but you also talk about a lot of personal, and it really creates that foundation for the connection with the men. And I mean, this could actually be a whole episode in and of itself to talk about the men's work, which,
Yeah.
to be honest, I never really heard about
Mhm.
until I was friends with you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
not even until the last, I don't know, maybe 5 years did I start hearing about men's work, and
Mhm.
mostly from you. And then it sort of started popping up in my life as well.
Mhm.
That's, like I said, a whole conversation in and of itself. But
Mhm.
I think that what you bring from learning about that stuff to this group
Mhm.
is just so freaking powerful. I don't
Yeah.
know. I think that, having people around you who you can count on and who will support you, especially as an entrepreneur, it's like you need it. And it's
Yeah,
just
I
amazing.
think we both for men and women there you need to have your crew or your tribe or your people. And I found some people that don't have that. It could be a very lonely mission,
Yeah.
right? And as entrepreneurs too, we can lose ourselves in the identity of your title
Yeah.
or your skill set or the fact that you're an entrepreneur. Like you could lose your identity in that
Yeah.
and and forget who you really are. And you need to still have people in your life where you can completely mask down and be you
Yeah.
and remember that there's a soul in there. There's a unique part of you that is in this experience, creating the business, doing the business, being in the relationships, right?
Yeah.
Um, and I think for me as a person that in all of my relationships and my exchanges, uh, meaning and depth is very important to me,
Yeah.
right? And if I'm my time with people doesn't last very long if they only exist at the surface level.
Yeah. And this is actually a great segue into my last sort of big question before we start to get some takeaways
Mhm.
and close out. But
Yeah.
maybe you can share a little bit about how you ended up on the spiritual journey and how you've learned that side of yourself and brought that into your work.
Um, Good question, because I can't prove or disprove past lives. If I'm gonna,
Okay.
might as well just go there. But when I think I was at least 20, 21. It could have been maybe that year I was not in school.
Yeah.
I was really frustrated one day, still living at home and stuff like that, but like just frustrated and going, I feel like, I don't know, like I have to somehow go deeper.
Okay.
I don't know where this came from because I hadn't read a self-help book in my life.
Okay.
I didn't even know what meditation was,
Okay.
right? And I sat down and opened up a Word document on my parents' computer and I titled it Meeting with the Soul.
Okay. Yes.
And I just started asking questions. And then I'm going to play a game and answer the questions as if they know the answer.
Okay.
And about an hour later, I'm still typing away.
Wow.
And I created this document. It's probably somewhere in my dad's hard drive still. And I didn't realize what I was doing was like they call it automatic writing or meditative, intuitive writing, channeling.
Yeah.
I didn't have names for any of these things. I just kind of felt compelled to try it. And that's what I discovered at 20, 21.
So
This is
interesting.
while I was still trying to pursue, about to pursue fitness and go down
Yeah.
that road, right? So writing had always been sort of like a channel for me to sort out thoughts and ground myself. For some reason, it gave me a voice that didn't have to go into the public.
Yeah.
So that was my initiation into sort of like a spiritual path. Anytime you, I find, I tell people, anytime you get sick, you get an injury, you get some sort of setback, something happen, that's life or God or the universe or whoever or whatever subscribe to in the spiritual realm,
Yeah.
giving you an opportunity to stop
Yeah.
and reflect and learn from what you've done so far and recalibrate if you need to. So my injury in 2005
Yeah.
was a significant, turn in the path, right? That brought me more deeper into that, made me look more like deeper into the energy system, like the chakras and the energy systems and Reiki and all these different things, and go, not only do I want to learn about them and experience some sort of experience that you get sometimes when you get a reading or a past life
Yeah.
therapy session or whatever. Not just that, but I want to actually, how do you take that and apply it? How do you take that as a tool or as a insight or a thing to
Ah,
apply it to bettering your situation or moving
yes.
towards your goals, right? That was the thing for me. I call what I do is practical intuitive, right? Like, how do you use all of the things to also execute in life,
Yes. I'm so
right?
happy that you said this because this is one of the things that is so unique and cool about you is that even though you are spiritual and you have all these connections and you know all of this, all of these different modalities and ways of thinking of things and everything, you always take what you are doing in that realm and turn it into action. And for me, who is totally black and white, like this spiritual side is, I've always been someone who believed everything happened for a reason and stuff like that. But my spiritual side of me has definitely grown so much, especially since we've been together. And I just, for me, who I'm so task oriented and like getting shit done and all of that stuff, I just love how you bring together that spiritual, energetic side with the practical, like, what are we doing with that? Like, it's
Yeah.
not just about feeling better. And actually, we are going into our 4 day retreat in person tomorrow. We
Yeah.
leave tomorrow. And this is exactly what it's all about. It's like bringing together the practical stuff and the planning and the organizing and the stats and the data and all that you know, other other realm of things with the spiritual and with the energetic work and with the holistic lifestyle. And I just think it's such a unique thing about you.
Yeah, an interesting thing I remember now that you share this is I don't know what year it was, but when The Secret came out,
Yeah.
um, it was the
Been
first
a
time
while.
yeah, it was the first time I've ever seen something mainstream like that,
Yes.
coming out in the space of law of attraction and all that. And I would have to watch it again to see if it's there or not, but what people a lot of people I found pull it up, maybe me included in the beginning, pulled out of that was all I got to do is sit and meditate and wish and align to receive, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
get what I want. Because there was certain components of that movie that was only like an hour and a half
Yeah.
that made it sound like all you have to do is think about shit and then it's
Yeah.
gonna appear. Like all of a sudden
Yeah.
money's gonna just appear in the mail and shit, right? And I was like,
No.
no, there's got to be something. What I've grown to understand is the understanding of alignment and being in non-resistance
Yes.
to be, when you're in the space between where you are and who you're being now and what you're experiencing now and what you intend to experience in the future, which actually technically isn't in the future. It's you got to wrap your head around that it's not in chronological time, but there's also inside of that state of presence choosing the thing that needs to be done,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. This is a
And
huge
and
part.
I yeah, my holistic approach to things,
Yeah.
and when we talk to entrepreneurs, I talk about getting present. Our co-working sessions, we get present with a light meditation and
Yeah.
breath and stuff like that. And and because I've experienced this myself. I get in the, as an entrepreneur, like you're wearing 30 different hats and everything feels important, right? So, but what do I do right now, right? So I'd have a process of grounding myself, getting to this place and going, okay, what is the priority right now? And allowing it, not for my mind, but allowing it come through me.
Yeah.
And sometimes that first task isn't even business oriented. It's like, Brian, you have not eaten properly, you haven't slept well, and you haven't worked out in 7 days. And the anger is building in you, and it's
Right.
energetic and emotional clutter. And you cannot create and execute and direct message people with your energy like that.
Energy. Yeah.
So get
Absolutely.
off your ass and go for a hike and come
Yeah.
back, and I will give you, and like my higher self is pretty direct.
Yeah.
And he'll say, and when you come back, then we're gonna talk about, the
That's it.
next thing, what comes
Yeah.
next. But you
Love
gotta
it.
get up and go now, right? And I found it always tends to work. Sometimes on the walk, I get inspired. I film a
Okay.
video that I'm gonna post on social media. Because now
Totally.
I'm back in my body. I'm back in the right way of being to serve and contribute and offer value into the world and not be in my scramble in my
Yeah.
mind, right? So
Yeah.
it's an
So,
ongoing process, and eventually we get better at it, become more self-aware. We've
yeah.
established our own systems and our own processes to anchor in, and that's one of the things that I teach people I work with.
Awesome. Okay. So let's do a couple final questions. One, I'm trying to decide. I have a few in my head which one I want to go with. Um, let's go with the if you were to tell our audience one thing right now, what would it be?
I guess first describing who that person is as it is coming up right now in this moment is the person that is kind of going about their business every day, business as usual. Maybe financially things are good. Maybe things are okay. Maybe relationships are even good or whatever, but they're not great. They're not amazing. And part of you is deep down going, there's got to be more.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking that's the person I'm talking to right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the truth is there is more. There's way more. right? And
Yeah.
it starts with breaking the cycle, right? Look at your routines. One thing I talk about, one of the tools I have is the lifestyle audit, where I literally tell you change nothing and just observe for at
Yeah.
least 3 days,
Yeah.
right? And just observe what's going on. Be present in every moment, and when you're gonna pick up on something, right? It starts with that, but um, carving out a time for you to have some time with yourself and explore what it is that is actually important to you, and that changes over time,
Hmm.
right? If you're wanting to start a family and you don't have kids yet, one of your priorities might be how do I align myself, align my health, or all these things to having a family, right? But after maybe your kids are older now, my son's 14, he's becoming more independent and stuff. So at this phase in my life, what is important to me now? So
Hmm.
checking in on yourself, right? Um, if people struggle with this sometimes, who do you know that you can mask down with and be
That's
completely real with that will listen to you, that will not give you advice and not tell you what to do and not bring their own story and their own drama to your
good.
situation?
Yeah.
Like they actually know you and are there for you and gunning for you,
Hmm.
help you voice out and communicate what's inside to kind of discover what is the next thing. And if you're working, you don't have to quit your job. If you have a business, you don't have to just cancel all your appointments and get rid of your clients. I'm just saying, continue with your business, continue with doing what's working.
Yeah.
But on the side, allow time to write that book, allow time to meet with those people or create that group or volunteer or whatever it is that you're feeling called to that you feel like you're missing out on. That's our choice. No one's going to do that for you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You have to make the choice and you got to protect that space and that time and that decision so that you can see it through. So I don't know if that's clear enough, but that's basically my message to those out there that are kind of like they know that there's more. They just don't know what the next move is, right?
Okay. Okay. I love that. Okay. And last one is tomorrow's your birthday.
Yes.
What is one wish that you have for yourself for this next 12 months?
Wow, that's tough.
I threw that one at you. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
We didn't prepare for that one.
I would say, you know, at this phase in my journey, I've finally come through a lot of very significant um, changes in my life, overcome some challenges, personally and professionally,
Yeah.
um, and and I'm ready for the next breakthrough. So my wish is to like a year from now, like say fall, November, December of next year, like just go, wow. That's, not necessarily we're finally there or I'm finally there, but just like I'm completely in a different realm now and there's no looking back and just having evidence of of the success of that I'm pursuing in my profession, but also just like my relationships have been changing so much, and
Yeah.
there's so many different things that have been changing in my inner circle and my networks and stuff. I see a lot of exciting new things unfolding, and I guess what I'm saying is I'm ready to receive. I'm ready to align and receive something really big and amazing. So that's my wish.
Okay. Love that. Love that.
It's recorded now.
It's recorded now. Brian, this has been so good. I hope that it's really given everyone a chance to get to know a little bit more about you and who you are and why you are the way you are now and how you got here and all of that good stuff. And there are so many things that we can take from this conversation and pull into even deeper conversations in future episodes. So I'm super excited about that too. Thank you so much for sharing and for your vulnerability and for your honesty and all of that. And looking forward to the next episode.
Me too. It's been amazing so far. Let's keep going.
All right, let's go.